Perhaps it is useful in the form of conclusive remarks to put together some thoughts related to our discussion of the existence of God. First of all, the reaching of the vision of God's existence is fundamentally related, and it rests on the absolute acceptance of the power of the human mind. Because we human beings have the power to think and to reason, this is a very fundamental gift and reality of being human. Any systems, and there are many, which belittle the power, the ability, and the importance of reaching intelligibility using our minds. Such systems somehow deny the very roots of the dignity of being man. Philosophy is absolutely a matter of complete dedication to know reality. And the arguments which are used in philosophy are simply absolute, in a sense that if the argument is valid and sound, like we just pointed to some of the reasons for God's existence, then no matter what the cost, no matter what the implications, it is absolutely necessary to absolutely follow where the argument leads, no matter what the cost or consequences it may demand and involve. Now, this is especially important when we are dealing with the fundamental, the perennial foundations of understanding the universe, man, and God, because without using our mind to its best abilities, then we, so to speak, deny our own humanity. In our times, especially in modern times, each individual, the so-called modern man or postmodern man, if you like, must have something which seems to be not so obvious for many. And it is the courage to think for myself. We are living in very special times where the individual citizen, the individual human being, is very much influenced and quite often manipulated in almost any aspect of his life by the governments, by the so-called states, the powers of the established civil political laws, man-made laws, of course. The area of exercising one's own freedom of choice seems to become smaller and smaller within the context of the powerful influence of governments in different countries. The role the dignity, the ability of the average person, instead of being given more freedom, is more and more subject to the power of the political forces. This is why it was said that the individual needs courage to think for himself, following blindly, uncritically, in a sheepish way, thoughts, ideas, theories which are given in many forums, whether they are in literature, schooling, or so-called media, is a denial, a kind of escape from reason. With the development of the worldwide now media available so easily to every individual around the globe, this, of course, is very essential condition. If an individual follows without critically evaluating what is taught, what is given to him as true, he is denying his very vocation as a rational animal. Science is a great gift and deserves all the praises we can master. But there is an attitude of shallowness in the air because people seem to be restricting all knowledge to only the sensible encapsulation in the here and the now. This, of course, is deadly for valid, solid philosophical arguments. But one may say, for example, why be rational? Why not follow instinct, emotions, feelings, whatever? Why? Because the greatest thing by which man differs from any other form of life on this globe, this by which he is standing out, so to speak, within the area of living things, is precisely his capacity to reason, to use solid, valid logic, to inquire, to search, to build his own vision of the meaning of being human. Every human being is hungry for truth. Aristotle, many centuries ago, said all men by nature desire to know. This desire to know is, of course, very strong, but it can be silenced by other so-called, quotes unquote, values and motivations in human life. And this shallowness seems to be, to a great extent, the very spirit of our times. Belittling the possibility of sound metaphysical insights denies the very nature of being human. The old classical definition of man is still valid today. Animal rationale, that means man is a rational animal. He is an animal, all right. He needs all that other animals and forms of life need. He needs shelter, food. he needs the commodities of life, he needs propagation of his species, he needs all those things because he is an animal. But the essential difference is in the other attribute. Man is a rational animal, and by nature he is destined to reach and seek the eternal. The arguments which we are discussing for God's existence seem to be sound and valid pointers towards an infinite divine reality. The human mind, of course, begins with the tangible data, the sense data, and then it draws the conclusions from very deep analysis of what we call beings, existences surrounding us. Part of the whole universe, of course, beings in a true sense are we too. And from the sense data, from the direct experiences of beings, the mind ascends gradually, perhaps painfully, but it ascends to the final ultimate beginning, the Alpha and Omega of existence. To resign from search for God, to belittle the question of God's existence, or to think that really it's not important, or perhaps too difficult, all those elements are deadly for the very development and life here and also in the other eternal dimension for men. Respect for the argument and philosophy, complete absolute use of the mind and its powers without denying it from the very beginnings, like some philosophical systems do, is really and truly to be or not to be for humans. For each individual human and humanity.